Welcome, everybody, to the Sonoma Spiel. My name is Tim with the Sonoma Valley Visitors Bureau. Today is a beautiful, lovely day in Sonoma Valley. The sky is blue. The grass is green.
You know, I know you say that every time,
but
I want to say today, it was not that sunshiny. It's pretty overcast all day long.
Okay,
all day long.
Listeners, my guest, who was a very special guest star, but this time I don't mean it.
I mean, I love Sonoma Valley. I think it's a magical place. I do. I think it's an absolute magical place.
The point I'm getting at.
But let's just be honest.
It was
honesty and
cloudy,
advertisement.
No, because listen,
when
I walked in here, it was a blue sky. One might say segue. One might say like a Kodachrome. Give me those nice bright colors. Give me the balloons of summer. We're talking movies. We're talking my very special guest star. Someone I've just been trying to get to talk, and he barely. It's like dragging, wild horses. It's so hard to get him to speak and say anything.
I'm a shy guy. I'm a shy young man.
I just met him,
yes.
George Dondero, filmmaker. Hi.
Hey, thanks for having me, Tim. I really appreciate it.
I'm so glad you're here. And
thanks too.
Thanks for the reality check that it's always sunny in Sonoma.
When it comes down to it, I want people to think, because you see, you're the one that has to deal with if it is not a sunshiny day.
Right.
They're going to come to you and complain.
No, and then
because especially where you're positioned on the plaza, they're
George,
coming to you.
I've already got
I'm just trying to say, hey, there's going to be some days that it's not.
You're an angry visitor.
Yes.
And you've listened to this podcast because you're a devoted listener. You've come to Sonoma.
Yes.
And
because of this show in particular. Okay. You were like, oh my God, this is amazing.
And it's not cloudy. Go ahead. I'm at the visitor center. Go. Talk to me. Like, oh, hi, George. Welcome to Sonoma. Can I help you?
I want to know why there's clouds everywhere. You told me. I heard you. You told me it's always a beautiful sunshiny day, and I'm looking out there right now. It is absolutely. It's not, and it looks like it might rain.
Right. So one, thanks for visiting. Second of all, yesterday. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous yesterday. And I think tomorrow it's going to be even sunnier. And right now, this brief shining moment where it's not shining and it is brief, I want to encourage you, George, and your lovely traveling partner. How are you doing, ma'am? Good to see you. I think you guys should just go check out a wine cave right now because that's a fantastic time. And if you're not drinking, go to a cheese cave.
I don't know why we went down this road. I was just trying to point out it wasn't completely perfectly sunshiny.
George. I want to talk about a few things.
Yeah,
you're a filmmaker.
I am. I actually have my own company called Sonoma Filmworks.
Love the name.
It's a great name, Sonoma Filmworks, but it's also a great company. And what we do is we do promotional videos for all different types of Sonoma County clients.
Really?
We have nonprofits, we have government agencies, we have wineries.
Have you ever done tourism commercials?
I have. There was a good period of time in my life where I did. They were like my bread and butter was Sonoma County tourism videos. It was some of the happiest days of my life.
Really?
Yeah.
I bet you the guy you worked with was really cool.
He was okay.
Okay. So you did some videos.
All my clients are amazing. I love every single one of them.
That's good. Good
every
job.
Single
you're
client.
Pulling the classic mom, which kid do you love the most?
What I really like about working in Sonoma County doing video production is that it is such a diverse group of people that I get to work with. One day I might be working with what I call the mosquito people, which is the Marin Sonoma Mosquito Vector Control District, which is one of my clients.
Which also includes rats. I don't think you should just call them mosquito people.
But that's what they call, because originally it was put together in the 40s as just for mosquito abatement. And then they moved into not only rodents, but ticks and yellow jackets. And
all the good things.
Yes.
Everything you want to avoid.
It's a vector.
The vector.
Yeah.
Victor.
Yeah. So anyway.
So that's one of your clients. By the way, you also have a water agency.
Sonoma Water is one of my clients.
George.
Vode Lighting here in Sonoma is one of my clients.
George, I was your hand model for a brief minute. You're like, Tim, do you have a toilet? I'm like,
yes. That was for a TV commercial.
Yeah.
That was for an actual TV commercial we made.
You cut my hand.
They didn't like the way you're looking of your hand. I can't help that.
I was going to be a hand model.
I can't help that.
I was going to be a hand model. I was going to be so big.
Anyway, so yes, I've had this company in Sonoma County where it's been a wonderful experience to be able to deal with different clients with different budgets and give them what they need under their price point.
But George, it's interesting because those are all like what we in the industry call industrials, right? So you're doing stuff
not necessarily,
but stuff for clients
with everything you create. For me, it is depending on the client, be a wine client that is trying to sell wine, obviously, or water agency that is trying to explain exactly the process they do. Everything is always a commercial, really, when it comes down to it, because you are telling a story and you're trying to get your point and inform that group.
Well, that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
You've done something different. You've done something creative and more in line with what, when you were trying to get into the film business. I think you have a new movie out.
Yes, I actually...
Is that something we can talk about?
Yes, let's talk about my new movie. I have a new movie that I just released on Amazon. It's called War of the Wills.
Got it.
Brand new. I mean, brand spanking new.
It still smells like a new movie.
You can really...
When you open it...
It smells like that package.
It does.
It does. It's that fresh. But having this experience and being able to create for other people, amazing product with a very small crew. I thought, well, maybe I can get together a small budget and create my own film, and which is a dream of mine. Since I was literally a sophomore in high school, I wanted to be a filmmaker, and I've done film my whole life. I went to school for film, but this idea of being able to do a fefeature, I've done shorts before, but to create and take that big feature-length film, 104 minutes, was really sort of the best thing that's ever happened to me in my career.
That is 14 minutes longer than any Michael Bay movie. Aren't his always 90 exactly?
I don't know.
I'm not Transformers 12.
I don't know. But yes, so
104 minutes of your movie.
Of my film, and we did it with a very small, compact crew. All Sonoma County residents, our actors, we're all Sonoma County residents. It's really, this is Sonoma County art in film format. I mean, this is when you look at Sonoma and you think, what do we have here? I think this really shows it, because not only does it show great Sonoma locations, but it also shows a talent base that is just, that's what got me the most.
We have good theater here. And we've talked about this in the past, that for being a smaller destination or place, the actual county doesn't have that many people in it. There's a fairly robust art scene. And some of that's performing arts.
Definitely.
But musicians, we were talking about earlier, someone you remember from high school, but there was always different musicians around, and now there's also a lot of theater around, and you're able to find some people. I want to, before we address that.
Yeah, of course.
I think some of it was filmed in the city of Sonoma, if I recall.
Yes, we were lucky to reserve a big part of our production was done at El Pueblo Inn. I mean, literally
we could throw a rock and hit it right there. From the amazing
Which
World
they were
Studios
so sweet to let us come in and film 2 days. It was really nice.
Really?
Yeah.
That was good. And then a couple other locations. I think you were in Petaluma somewhere?
We were in Petaluma for the majority of it.
That's the house?
The movie, for the most part, takes place in one house. And so that location was 520 Galan Street in Petaluma. It was actually, fun fact, first hospital in Petaluma.
It was?
Yeah. So which makes it this beautiful. Haunted? I don't know. I've never spent the night
there.
One
would assume in a hospital, people would expire there.
Caroline and Brad never really told me that it was haunted.
Okay.
But I had only a great experience there. So for me to put any type of haunting that might make other people think there's a negative there, I can't put that out there in the world. Because for me, it was a wonderful place.
It's a beautiful Victorian-looking building.
An absolutely gorgeous Queen Anne Victorian.
Queen Anne Victorian.
Yeah, that's just the perfect place for this movie.
And the movie, so this is actually a crucial thing. The house is there's basically two main characters, though the house is also a character in some regards.
Correct. Can
you take me through the plot and what it's about?
It's pretty simple. It is really a story about a young man who finds out that his grandfather, that he never knew, has died, and bequeathed him half of his estate under the terms that he has to live with his father. And fortunately, he hates his father and has not really seen his father. They have a very tough relationship with a real bad past. So it creates this conflict of he has to spend 30 days in a house with the man he hates the most.
Can he go to the store?
He cannot leave. Neither of them can leave. They
have to stay there
in this piece of
property.
For
30 days, for 1 month.
Exactly.
Like a February, it's a short month. Which one's a 30?
Well, it's actually 29 is what I say in the movie.
Okay.
Yes. But a month.
Right. So they got to stay there for a month.
Correct.
They can't leave. Those are two characters. There's also two characters who kind of watch them. They're kind of paid by the estate. The estate to keep an eye on these
people. And
okay.
it's a dark comedy that really works on this sort of, it's almost like generational cycles, and this that's where the sort of the original idea came to me was this idea of things that you sort of pick up from your parents and you start repeating, and it's sort of this idea: can I break this cycle?
The patterns.
But it also is it's a lot of comedy. There's a lot of darkness in it, and it ends with a bang.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the ending. But
No,
people should
no, we
watch
don't want to waste it.
People should watch
people,
it.
Once again, it is for rental $1.99.
No, you should buy it. You should buy
which
it.
would be great.
I think you should buy it.
$3.99
That's a
on
deal.
Amazon. It is a deal.
That is
It
a deal.
The best money you will
It
spend.
probably is. For
in a
104
long
minutes.
time.
104 minutes.
Of quality.
Look at that.
And you'll also know by spending the money on this that you're supporting Sonoma County people, residents.
good.
Everyone was paid
Good.
on this project. This wasn't one of these things where the actors didn't get paid.
We'll
and
give you
the
exposure.
locations, the main location, I actually rented that location because
good.
we were there for such a long time. We were there
They're
for
not-
14 days.
We're talking about the not haunted house.
Then we're talking about 520 Gallon Street.
It's a beautiful house.
It's
in
a
Petaluma.
beautiful house.
Is that over there on the west side of Petaluma, where all those beautiful houses are?
It is.
That's a nice spot.
Yeah, it is absolutely gorgeous stuff. But that's so. Not only you're going to get entertained, but you're also going to know that you're supporting local actors,
Right.
local filmmakers, and supporting your local region.
That's interesting. In a lot of ways, we in the wine country, we talk about terroir and how the soil and the earth and the sun creates a taste of the grapes, in which goes
Right.
into the wine. So what you're kind of saying is this terroir of the arts right here, the feeling of who we are.
I would like to, being a, born and raised Northern Californian. I was born in San Francisco and raised in Healdsburg. I moved there when I was 4 years old. So I spent a good
formative
portion.
years.
Yeah, all in Healdsburg a long, long time ago. But it is this idea that I think that we do have a different culture here, and I think that is part of what is represented here. Yeah,
Okay.
I agree. I totally agree.
And I got to say, it's War of the Wills because there's a will, but there's also the pun, which I finally caught it like halfway through. I'm like, I'm so stupid. Both the protagonists have the same name, Will.
That's right.
One's a second and one's a third. One's a junior and a third. I'm assuming the other Will, who is not shown, who has died.
Senior.
He's the senior.
Yeah.
George. Is your father's first name George?
Yes, it is.
George, is there anything slightly autobiographical in this film?
There are parts. When originally the script was a lot more. It was.
I saw the first draft. That's what I'm saying. It changed.
It did because I realized that if it didn't further the story, I had to pull it out, even if it meant a lot to me. So there are certain stories of things that had happened that I just ripped out because I was like, this doesn't serve the story. And for me, it's always the story is foremost.
Right, you got to put it in there. They say, the act of writing, like 10% of it's writing, 90% of it's editing it out and tightening it up. And
it's hard to give away your babies. Cut your babies out.
Never fall in love with your own work, George.
And what was really even tougher was I had written the script and I was hoping for this 135. An hour and a half was really what I was shooting.
Right.
And they always say, you a minute per page of script.
Okay.
And so I finished my script at 120.
Oh.
But when we finished with the full runtime, it was 2 hours and 20 minutes.
The director's cut.
What I ended up having to do, which was really hard, was cut a good 40 minutes out of this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to get that 130 because I wanted to not bore people. I wanted to keep it fast, and it's
You
a
gotta keep
very
it tight.
fast movie.
Right.
It's a very tight, fast
And
movie.
people, it's probably hard to make entertainment now because people are on their phone watching 2-minute videos, or things are short, so you've got to keep it tight and clean.
Well, I
and
also
interesting.
I think that there's also a place for everything, right? So there are people that want that TikTok bang 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 bang.
Yeah, they're
type
12 years old.
viewage.
Yeah.
But then there's the other people that want to go for a long ride. You can always go fast to one location, or you can take the scenic route. And I prefer the scenic route.
Okay, fair enough.
It's just that simple. Yeah.
What are there certain things in there that from your life that you put into there that you want to talk about, or are there certain things?
Oh, we can talk about anything you would like to talk about. I am an open book when it comes to the way I was raised.
Well, because the one character, if I could say that, the younger character, the younger Will, is kind of a fitnessy workout. He's obviously using that as a stress relief from a stressful life. The father, who's played by Stephen David Martin,
amazing,
local
and by the way,
playwright.
Stephen David Martin, but Takahashi is the actor,
the younger guy.
Yes, that is Will 3,
and
I call him the third.
He played a guy probably in like his mid-20s or early 30s.
He's in his late 20s, excuse me, late 20s. But it was really interesting how I actually met Cott. I was doing a project for Creative Sonoma, which is they were giving money away to artists who had lost their houses in fires. And Takahashi was actually living in Coffee Park at the time, and he had lost his house and actually had to run for the flames. So during when
this
I
was 2017.
Yes, first big one. So when I met him that first time, I was like, this is just a very charismatic, talented person. And actually, both roles, and I've known Stephen David Martin who plays Junior a long time. So for me, I actually wrote both these roles for these actors.
Oh, so you had them in mind.
I had them in mind from the get-go, and I was very lucky that they both were able to make the time.
Okay. And I say Stephen does a great job of being, he's done Shakespearean, plays out in different places.
He is a master of the art.
And he like the malignity of Iago. Like he was just mean. I hope I'm not giving too much away, but he was like the jerk dad. He drank all the time. He just discouraged the son in the hope of getting the house, because whoever left the house in this plot.
He's a little right off the bat. He's a little angry that his son is getting part of this inheritance to start. So that is where the real conflict right off the bat.
He's like,
hits.
This kid who I don't like is going to take my money.
Well,
and
more
but you're the
importantly,
dad.
It is. Why is a grandson getting the money in the first place?
Right.
So and that's part of the story that is revealed later. But
we won't talk about that.
Well, it's just part of the story that we don't necessarily need to. But that is really the crux of why he has his major anger. One of the parts of it. There's more to it. This is more complicated than just I want the money. Really, when it comes down to it, there are higher stakes
But I think in any family dynamic, when there's money, it's more than just money.
People can get really ugly.
There's this new TV show called Succession. Perhaps you've heard of it.
I've heard of it. I love it. It's a really good show.
Or that guy Shakespeare who made a career out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that this is something that we can all relate to. It's weird to me how wonderful people can be to each other, and then when money gets involved, sometimes everything goes out the door. And this is sort of one of those stories.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
This didn't actually happen to you, though, like in the sense that you had a house that you were
I wish.
In Petaluma.
I wish. I wish this story would happen to me. And I was the third. Yes. I this idea of what really is not autobiography.
Right.
What isn't us is this idea that my father would never speak that much to me. My father was sort of this ghost that I very, very rarely saw. And when I did see him, he didn't really engage. And so what I do like about this father is he is engaged.
Oh boy, is he engaged.
He's really engaged in his son's life. And that is a wonderful thing.
Slightly too engaged.
Yes.
That's good. But they both actors did a great job. And the other two, well, three actors. There were four actors.
We have a lot of actors. If you want to count, because
right.
But the point is, I think that the talent that came out of these actors is really what I think is the star of, and the whole experience for me was amazing. It felt magical.
How long did it take to film?
We were all together for 16 days.
Okay.
And 14 of those days, it was all in one house, in a Victorian where the rooms are very small. So we had to have a very small crew to make sure that we weren't,
Yeah, so it's not a soundstage. This is a real old house.
No, this is a real old house where we did everything in.
Yes,
and it was perfect.
Did you have like a sound guy, one of those sound people?
We have Larkin Dawson, who actually went to school in Sonoma Valley.
Oh, he did. Go Dragons. Did you have a gaffer?
Well, everyone, see,
I don't know what a gaffer is. I like saying that word. Isn't it like a hook that you use to catch fish as a gaffer?
When everything like this...
Right.
When you're working with such a small crew, everybody has to do everything.
Got it.
Okay, you can't have a person that's just moving electrical.
Right.
You can't have a person that is dealing with the lights.
Right.
Everyone's got to have a
no
little
prima
piece.
donnas, dude.
No,
you were doing it all.
I did everything.
Right.
Everybody did. Everyone was part of something.
Okay.
So we really sort of broke those rules with the production because we had to.
And this is small. This is how small art works.
Yeah.
What, George? Since you've been here a while, I mean, you're not that old, but you're George. You're getting along.
I'm old.
Jesus.
I'm old.
What other kind of movies that have been filmed here locally?
Don't you start with me. Don't
Because I was going to say here in
Sonoma. Don't you start with
and the Healdsburg Plaza where you used to hang out, which used to be littered with Harley Davidsons before it became nice. Scream. Scream was filmed in both Sonoma and Healdsburg.
It sure was.
Yep. Yeah. And the high school is now the community center here in Sonoma.
Well, I think also Peggy Sue Got Married is the real one, the real hero of Sonoma County. Besides
The most important one.
No.
Yes. I'm going to say it. Howard the Duck.
I was going to say Cujo, but okay. Another one
Howard the Duck was filmed in Petaluma.
Batteries Not Included. Another one.
That was filmed here?
That was filmed in Sonoma
really?
County.
Oh, that's a good one. That was good.
Without a Doubt. Without a Doubt.
Shadow of a Doubt.
Shadow of a Doubt.
Yeah,
Sorry.
good job.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Also, don't you start with me. It is weird to me that I would come on a show, you would call me a guest, and then treat me. See, the joke here, people, is since I've lived here, when anyone talks about Sonoma County, they have to bring up the birds.
Oh, is that the birds?
It is a constant that I just get really frustrated because there's also other movies
but George,
that were wonderful that were filmed here.
It's a good movie.
But everyone constantly talking, and I don't want to.
Do you know why?
Throw any shadow on that.
Shadow of a Doubt. It was a seminal movie for a significant portion of our population.
Obviously.
Because it was Hitchcock and it was horror. And
yes.
What are crows called? A grouping of crows? Murder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's scary.
I think I got that right. Yeah.
You did? Yeah, you did. You're a bird person. I know it. So, no, it's a big movie. And if you go to Bodega Bay, I know everyone talks about it. It's a big thing. What people don't talk about, another movie that was filmed here that also related from the animal kingdom was one called Animal, starring Rob Schneider. It wasn't good. He has like animalistic tendencies.
So my movie, which was actually filmed, the whole thing was filmed here in Sonoma County. We actually used part of Sonoma. I mean, to get props and I always go to the thrift stores, and I hunt through the thrift stores. That's really an important part because I'm on a budget. I can't just go buy everything from Amazon. So all the wardrobe, I mean, all the little props that you find throughout the movie were actually a
Where'd
big
you get all those
portion
bottles?
Bottles I got from everybody.
Oh,
I put that out. Some of them I bought, in the movie, part of the set dressing. What happens is the set is filled with these bottles where Senior, William Hadian Sr. actually has put messages in his bottles to his son about his life to make sure that his son remembers the things that he did do for him.
As though a man who's a castaway would be throwing messages in a bottle.
And then his son, the junior, is a bit of a hoarder. So the set is not only are we in a small place that they're confined in, but also there's just nothing but stuff around them.
And he drinks a lot. So there's also like bottles from his drinking in cans. And so
part of that too.
It's his whole thing.
But yeah, we got a lot of the props from Republic of Thrift, Church Mouse, and then there's Bon
Marché.
Yes, Bon Marché,
That's
which is my favorite, one of my favorites because no one knows it's there.
Yeah, and it supports a mission in West Africa. The woman there's from Africa, and she has a really neat shop there.
Anyway, I spent a lot of time during those. I always that was one of my first jobs that I got doing actual film was on art department where I had to go find props. And so
you worked in film before this, like with actual films?
Yes, I actually have worked in the industry at some level in different format since I graduated from college, which I went to San Francisco State University. I got a film degree with an animation emphasis. I did animation for a big portion of that time. I worked for a multimedia, little sort of boutique multimedia company called Mondo Media, and then worked for Electronic Arts, a video game company after that. Then after that, I started working in doing projects in film.
Okay.
And so I did a couple features and commercial work.
But you're kind of an animator, I thought was kind of like your background.
That is my bread and butter. Yeah,
like
that's
you can
where
actually
I came
draw
from.
Stuff. You know how to animate.
I prefer, yes, I can animate. Yes, I can. I went to school for it. I worked in it for almost a decade before I turned to this. What happened was when I started a business here in Sonoma County, I realized that there wasn't a lot of need for animation, so I moved over. I still get animation jobs. Don't get me wrong, but the real, people wanted live action. So
you do good title credits though and stuff because that's kind of I can see you a little flair from your background.
I got it. Yes, well, people really like. That's one of the. I've gotten a lot of great reviews on this movie.
Right.
That is one of the thing that keeps repeating is people really love the intro and exit titles because they look sort of different.
And I know you also, but you do that in everything you've done. I've always noticed you have a little flair, usually with a title or something that involves some sort of animation adjacent skills.
Yeah, well, that's just it.
But I have not seen any claymation from you.
Well, that's where I really, any puppet animation, any stop motion animation, that is my true love.
I want to
see
that.
If I had all the money in the world and didn't care about anything, I would probably sit in a room and do little, which is animation, just for anyone out there, to actually produce animation. It is the stupidest, most ridiculous endeavor. Never do it. Never convince your children not to go into animation, because it is so much work, and it takes a village. It is as a solo person to do animation is really hard.
It's difficult.
It's difficult. It really is. But the result can be absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you really can create things that are just amazing.
Right.
So that's the sort of balance that you have to deal with. Yeah.
So George, did you go right to school after high school? Did you go right to college? Or did
no.
Did you take a detour
I ran away from home, really. And I didn't really run. I did and I didn't. So I graduated from Healdsburg High.
Go Hounds.
Go Hounds. That was a long time ago. That was in the late 80s. And I was going to Sonoma, Santa Rosa JC, and doing very poor. I just wasn't ready for school yet. Okay. So, and at the same time, I was sort of raising my 3 younger sisters. So I joined the military just to get away. It's that simple.
Always my favorite
it's that
story.
simple.
I always ask you, George, what did you do? You're like, I joined the Air Force.
I joined the Air Force.
And then I ask you, what were you?
I was a law enforcement officer.
You were the tip?
Tip of the spear, yes. I had a 2-year tour in Germany where I was a tip of spear. This was right before and during when the wall came down. That's how old that really dates me, but that's exact. I was there. I was actually in Germany when the wall fell.
So I'm going to tell you something. It sounds like to me you won the Cold War single-handedly by going to Germany and being like, here I am, I'm 19, guys. And
I had no part of
East Germany was like,
I had no part of it. I think it had more to do with communism's thread,
so something happened
spreading
before
itself too thin for decades. But anyway.
Here's one of the stories you told me. I don't know if I can tell it or not.
Yeah, let's tell it.
But when you were guarding the bunkers in Germany, and at night you guys would play like a capture the flag game.
Yeah.
Of some kind. I'm not going to tell everything about it, but these are the kind of stories I think would make good movies.
We, to stay
because you're like
active
19-year-olds.
As you have 19-year-olds with weapons. I mean, who are
guarding bigger
bombs, right? And we did some.
We don't have to tell anything because I don't. I don't know what the statute of limitations is on the MPs coming.
Well, no, I mean we were always good. My whole thing that was always a funny quote about a law enforcement officer. They call them SPs, special police, and the funny quote that I always liked about it was: you put an SP in a room with a bowling ball, you leave, you come back 10 minutes later, they will have broken the bowling ball. That's a room without anything else but a bowling ball. You shut the door, you come back 5 more minutes later, and they will have fixed it. And that's sort of what we were. We did our job.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. We did our job. But you know what? We found ways to entertain ourselves. Right. I mean, one of my favorite, I used to have my roommate, we got stationed in a base called Wushheim, which is this small Glickem site, very far from where our base was. Anyway, we would do gate guard duty and
waiting for
people to come in. No, just to check IDs because it was a very, very secured location.
Okay.
And but no one would ever come because no one would be there because it was a very secure site. And so we really didn't do anything but just sit and so we'd get really bored. We created this thing called Coke can tag, and the whole object was that you would pitch, a Coke can to your buddy who had a broom. He would smack it, and if you caught it, that was an out. If he didn't catch it, that was one base, and we would take score this way. All right, but the whole thing is, as the Coke can gets hit more and more, it gets edges and becomes sharp.
Okay,
so it becomes sort of more of a weapon that's coming at you that is just full of blades. So you would have to at times cut yourself to catch the can.
This is a horrible story.
Anyway, but we would do this outside the gate, and we were very vigilant about our job, and we'd take care of it. But we'd make up little silly games to entertain ourselves.
So you made you creative.
This was so long ago.
I know, but I love this because do you think any of your experiences there inform what you do now? Do you think it helped out?
What the military was good for me was it gave me a sense of. It really showed me, okay, there are times when you need to get down to work and do it. It made me sort of like find what I want to do with myself. Okay. It was a place where you could go, you could do a job. They will clothe you, they will house you, they will take care of your children. It is a very safe place in their structure, which I was not very used to as a kid, being around any structure. And to have that put onto me sort of made me go, okay, I need to create structure for myself so that I can live a certain way and do the things I want to do.
And I'm going to bring that back to your movie, where the son sought structure, it seemed, because his dad was kind of chaotic.
I think that that is what I and William Hadian III have in common, is this idea we grew up in chaos and we tried to create a safe place for ourselves.
Got it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to give away the movie.
Well,
but War of the Wills is where you can find out.
Yeah, and once again, War of Wills it is this family drama. It's a dark comedy, but it has this thread of supernatural in it. So there's more to it than just that. There is this whole other thing. There's this undercurrent that runs through it until the end, where it really comes out and shows itself. And it just gets darker and darker as the movie goes.
I was thinking, it does get darker. Some of that might also be, Bethany, who, can we mention her on this podcast?
Yes, let's mention Bethany, who is also co-writer, co-producer.
Right.
Bethany also...
Your life partner.
My life partner, who has been the best thing that's ever happened to me. That and the boys, having two wonderful boys.
Yeah, but she writes really twisted short stories. Bethany is like the nicest, most friendly person you've ever met. And then the stuff she writes, like, Bethany, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
But she'll post it on her LinkedIn. Like, this is twisted.
That's why I fell in love with her. I mean, I really instantly, because we have this dark sensibility and dark humor
it's kind of a macabre
with it. And Bethany actually just finished a book. It's called Sasquatch Baby. And this is an amazing...
That's an actual book.
This is an actual book.
Because a lot
this
of
is your
online.
Copy, actually.
Oh, really?
This is your signed copy.
Yes.
For Tim. But anyway, this is a wonderful book about a woman who, in essence, destroys her friend group.
Oh.
Like, literally makes them hate her, and goes to Del Norte County to drink herself to death.
On purpose.
On purpose, to just end it, because she's really screwed her life up. And in the process, finds a little adventure. Oh. A little dark adventure.
I think so. It's like...
But this also
Sasquatch
is on
Baby.
Amazon. Amazon, you can buy this.
Hold on,
a hard copy.
I'll put the link to both of these amazing items in the show notes.
But this is an amazing, like I said, amazingly dark book that everyone should read.
Baby. Is it Sasquatch, baby? Sasquatch Baby.
Sasquatch, baby.
Yeah, because I'm kind of holding it. I'm not saying that my eyes are that bad. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep, Sasquatch.
But anyway, wonderful book
by Bethany
Browning, who, like I said,
That's cool.
Big part. Not only did Bethany do all the things I mentioned before, but she also has a part in the movie where she does a VO of a character. Yeah. Yes,
or a way to calm down.
Bethany's a wonderful actress too.
She's great.
So
it's I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, she plays a character who is sort of the what Will the Third goes to when he's really stressed out. It's this calm guru that just calms him, centers him, so he doesn't lose his.
I didn't know she did a voiceover. I heard her voice. I'm like, that's so funny.
Yeah,
listen to her. George, what's the next? I mean, I know we're going to talk about this movie and it's going to be a huge success.
Of course.
But are you working on other movies? Do you have other ideas for movies?
Yes.
Are you have collaboration? Are you doing collabs? What are you doing?
I would love to do collab, but I just right now I have a great crew. So if I can find, I'm working on multiple scripts. I just have to find the right one for right now. And it's been a little distracting because I really want to start promoting this movie.
Right.
So I've been spending a lot of time. We've gotten a lot of great reviews, like I said. But it's really about getting this one out there now, and hopefully, I'm hoping that by the end of summer, I can start shooting the next one. Yeah.
So I got an idea for like the movie about a podcast.
Yeah, let's hear it.
And it's like at a struggling community radio station.
Who says it's struggling? I think it doesn't have to struggle. Because it seems like it's working to me. If something works,
right? With quirky characters.
Yes.
And then I think
I think I saw this WKRP in Cincinnati. It was a TV show.
Humanity
I think I saw that.
Johnny Fever.
Anyway,
he's great. Everyone that's like under 40 is like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, I know. They have no clue. But everyone else,
they missed out.
All of those Gen Xers are like, yes, finally somebody remembers.
I do know there's a guy in Petaluma who makes movies about Christmas.
I've watched both of his movies, and I think he's got a third coming out. I'm terrible with names, but they are doing great stuff.
He does a great job. I do, but here's my one thing. I'm gonna bring this up. It was called Wine Country Christmas. but it wasn't green.
Yeah,
and
it was
there were
filmed.
grapes.
It was obviously filmed in the summer.
Right.
Yes.
And which is fine for people who aren't from here, right?
Yes,
And
but it's a little distracting for us that grew up here.
And yes.
Because
and,
our winters are green
right.
and our summers are brown. And that's just what it is.
Well, now you sound like my intros. See? It's green and blue skies all the time.
Winters are always green in Sonoma County.
It is funny. The winters are lovely.
Always
they are
green.
lovely. Things are very green.
Yes, and the weather's wonderful. I think the weather, but I like rain too. And this has been a wonderful year for rain.
Yeah, because it's been slightly damp. Not now. It was very beautiful and sunny on my drive in, George. Thanks.
It looked cloudy to me, but
I
like the cloud. You know what I like about the
you
cloud?
know what?
When you're filming and you have that cloud, you don't have the hard shadows.
That's true.
So as an independent filmmaker and somebody who's working, you know, I don't have to put up scrims and try to block the sun when I'm on a shoot because those clouds create
George,
sort of a diffusion of the sun, and
the
it's
whole
wonderful.
county, you can drive 20 miles and go from very sunny inland,
Of course,
to the cloudier areas. So
Yes,
a lot of, I know, like
Bodega Bay, where they filmed the birds.
I was going to say out in western Petaluma, they film a lot of car commercials.
Yes.
Because they're not very harsh shadows,
Yeah,
and they have
exactly.
nice windy things like that.
Totally.
And they filmed, George, the movie Combat, or the TV show Combat in Sonoma Valley in Glen Ellen. When they were blowing things up, so that one of the harsh light and part of that, supposed to be like Iwo Jima.
Right.
They were actually blowing up stumps to plant a vineyard. They were blowing, so those were the explosions.
tracks.
That's genius,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's like some farmer out there just like throwing dynamite. Like, oh, sure, you can film. Why not? Just don't get blown up. Be fun. George, this has been really good, but
It's question time.
we got to get to really serious questions
Oh
here.
man, now I'm nervous.
This is just so everyone knows.
Honestly, I knew this was coming, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready.
Just so everyone knows,
I'm
and
gonna
you
feel like
haven't
I'm a
seen them ahead of
fool.
time. You won't. You haven't seen it ahead of time. Just so everyone knows, we get people come into our 2 visitor centers. They email us, they text us, they social media us, whatever, and they ask us all sorts of things, and then we answer it. We have professional staff, but today we get you to help me with the segment we call We Get Questions. Okay, this one's legitimately just came in.
All right.
Actually, it came in on Wednesday.
Okay. I'm ready.
Is Sonoma Valley more known for your red wines or your white wines?
I personally would go red wine right off the bat, but that is my preference. I am a Zin, Dry Creek Zin, and Alexander Valley Zin kid. So for me,
that's where you grew up.
That's where I grew up. I
heritage.
worked in wineries when I was in high school. For me, that is the taste of Sonoma County. But obviously, you know, we do love our Chardonnay,
Chardonnay,
also, and
Chardonnay's
Pinots.
huge.
But see, Pinot's
Sauvignon
more red
Blanc.
too, and
It is.
that
Sauvignon
whole
Blanc.
Russian River Valley is all
right.
Pinot. That's wonderful. We
It
have
is.
Corbella, obviously, that
You do.
has been creating.
Right.
And you have some
Gloria Ferrer down here.
I was just about to say,
sparkling wine.
thank you
Yeah,
very much.
You bet.
Who does an amazing job and has been here for a long, long time.
So the correct answer, you're right,
Is both.
is both.
Yes.
And this is weird because people didn't know that. Like some regions are just known for one, but you just did a great point there in that the entire county is so geographically diverse.
Yes, we have
The weather
microclimates are amazing here, so that you can produce almost anything.
Right.
I mean, because we do get some really hot, especially Alexander Valley. I think it gets really, really warm, so
does.
you could do more of a Spanish varietals, and that's why you really get those fruity zins. But yeah.
Yeah. And then like up Moon Mountain, which is here above Sonoma Valley, gets very hot.
Right.
Then in Carneros, which is just you can be on Moon Mountain looking at Carneros, it's socked in with fog.
It's always got
which
that
is
fog,
good
which is
Pinot
great
Noir
for those
Chardonnay.
Pinot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all right, good. Here's what I got. Via
Thanks.
text.
That was a good one. I like
You're
that
ready
one.
for
I was
that.
ready for that one.
I like
well,
how-
I wasn't ready, but
I like how you're also like, I
had the
worked at
answer.
wineries in high school, and are like, but it was completely legal, and there was no child labor going on, and
I just did
just
the
picked the
job.
grapes.
Well, I did a lot of labeling. This is for Johnson's Alexander Valley Winery, which is still there. Ellen, I believe, is still the winemaker there, but her dad, Tom Senior, would hire us. We would put labels on it by hand and cap bottles up by hand.
and
do
that's how
bottling
small
line.
wineries do it.
That's how they
And
did
they
it back in
still-
the 80s.
They
yes.
still hire people, so it's.
Yeah.
I mean, not. You know, I don't know about Johnson's, but some wineries are still looking for temporary work, and oftentimes it is labeling, it's running hoses.
Well,
it's
they
cleaning
do.
out
The
pumps.
whole process is different now,
Right.
but back then that's how it was done.
back Italian girls.
All right,
squishy
next
grapes.
one.
This came in via text.
Uh-oh.
Where can we get a map of Sonoma Valley?
Oh God! You
Like
just
a
simply
good
go
one.
to the visitor center.
That's right.
Right down on the plaza,
right.
and you just boom right there.
We got
You
maps
can
there for
also
you.
find that online too.
You can.
Yeah.
You know what though? What this guy actually wanted though was like an actual road map. So I clarified that. He wanted like not just a tourist map. He wanted a map of all the roads.
Well, I do they still I'm sure they still do them, put them in gas stations. So
They do.
simply just go to your local
gas station,
and you will find it there.
That's right. Jack's Filling Station probably has it. AAA, we have one in Sonoma, and if you're a AAA member, you can get
for free.
For free.
Included, actually. It's included because you're a member, right?
I got to tell you, I know you've got teenage. Oh, you're not teenagers anymore. They're
both my boys graduate.
Oh my gosh!
Next week
from
Santa Cruz University.
Go Slugs!
Yeah, go Slugs.
Okay, so congratulations on that. But one thing I learned from my dad is do not skimp on AAA membership when you are a teenage driver because you will use it, and they are losing money on my son's car. We're losing money to the mechanic, but AAA is losing money towing it to the mechanic. Nice. Yes, that works out. All right, this is one just before I came in here. 2 people came in, and their question: we are visiting from Sweden and Germany, but they said it in Swedish and German accent.
Yeah. Or were they both
one was
both?
Swedish?
Okay,
no,
so
Swedish,
these are 2 different people,
Swedish
from
man,
different
German
locations,
woman. Right?
Okay,
and now they live like in Austria or something.
Right.
Okay. So, where can we find grape juice to taste?
Oh, grape juice. God, you know what? I don't know, to be honest. I mean, actual grape juice. I wanted to mention a winery, but they are actually in Mendocino, so I will not mention them because I am Sonoma County true and true.
Do they have grape juice right now?
Yeah,
we're filming that. We're taping this in June.
Well, what they do is they bottle it up, so you get bottles.
So it's a good point, George. So what I mentioned to them that there's no current grapes being produced that you want to drink because it's early in the season right now.
Yeah, there's nothing's ready.
Their worry was they said, well, look, it's like 1:00 and we don't want to start tasting wine. And I said, well, I know you're not French. And then they didn't laugh because they were German.
Spit.
And well, I said you could do that.
You don't have to drink the wine. You can taste, and
that's
which
a good point.
A better way to do it anyway.
It is a great way to do it. So you don't have to drink it. That's a really good point.
Especially if you're driving. You don't want to.
No, you don't do that.
No,
right.
Please don't
but you can have someone else drive and you can taste.
Yeah.
Or to your point, we said you can walk around the plaza, go to the tasting rooms and stuff like that, ride a bike.
Yeah,
if you do.
definitely.
But definitely what we said is most wineries will let you taste grape juice on tours during harvest season. But right now, you just have to go to the grocery store and get grape juice.
Yeah, Welch's.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry. But
which
you've tasted, don't make here. But you've tasted fresh wine grape juice, right?
Of course.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Very sweet, delicious. They sell it sometimes at farmers markets, but usually it's like just press that day. You have to drink it because they don't add anything to it.
Yeah.
And but it's good. So I did also say that sometimes we take our grape juice and we let it sit for a little bit and we put it in bottles and it won't go bad. And we call that wine. They also didn't laugh at that. I was not funny. I was not funny at all.
Well, you know what?
And I'm still batting 1,000, George.
You're a taste for a certain type of person. We all are. We all have our own little.
We do.
Little.
You're right. Someone walked up to us yesterday, and they asked us this question. They were wearing a beret. They had a light meter around their, like a necklace. As you do.
Yeah.
Sort of like that's what happens.
I always wear a light meter.
And the question was, is Sonoma a good place to film independent movies? Why not?
It is actually. I truly, and I've been saying this for years. I mean, when I worked in San Francisco, I always was amazed. And back then, there was sort of a lot of films being made in Sonoma County that sort of died off. But to me, it is the best place to film because the weather is amazing, and it always is amazing. You go to other places in the country, you don't realize how special this is. That's why I came back. For me, growing up in Healdsburg, it was a very small town, and I wanted to see something bigger. And I went out and explored the world, and I realized, really soon, really fast, I realized how amazing this place is, and that's why I came back because I do really believe in Sonoma County. And for film, I don't think it can be beat. I mean, obviously you can't do a very urban, setting. Right. There are some spots in Santa Rosa and Petaluma, obviously, that you can pull off some nice alleys. But at the same time, everything else, it's all here. I mean, geographically, it's epic.
You can do an independent film.
Epic.
There's creative people, and there's geography.
There's a lot of talent here, and and I think when you watch my film on Amazon, War of the Wills, by the way, you will actually see how amazing these actors are and go that this caliber of actor can be found here is just, and we are creative people.
We're creative people here.
I think we are. And it's a part of Northern California. We're something different, I think.
I like that.
people that are born here and the ones that gravitate here, because it's this sort of this vibration that we all sort of attract.
Oh, look at you getting all West County.
I think so. Yeah, it happens. It happens.
You who poo-pooed the West County
are
now embracing your inner labyrinth, your inner vibrations.
Yes,
of creativity.
I grew up with a hippie mom, so I was a little hard on that type of culture, because you always want to go against your parent, right? You want to push, which is really what this movie's about, is the struggle between generations,
right.
and so I pushed back a little bit. Yeah,
but now that might be your next movie, George.
Maybe
Hippie George.
That's probably not going to happen.
George,
there's nothing wrong with people who
right.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway. Tell me again, for people who are just tuning in.
Of course.
What is the name of the movie? Where can they find it?
They can watch it on Amazon Prime. It's called War of the Wills, and $1.99 to rent and $3.99 to buy.
I think buying's a better choice.
Buy. You buy our rent. I'm for me.
Buy it.
The money, I would like to break even on this. We had an ultra small budget, but all that budget, like I've told you,
paid people.
I went to actors and locations. Like I told you earlier, to cut costs, it was nothing but.
So buy it.
Thrift stores.
Buy it.
So it would be nice if
you don't have to say it, George. I'm going to say it.
But what I'm saying is, I just want people to see it, because I think it's a wonderful film. We had so much fun. The cast and crew were amazing, and I want everyone to experience the joy that we had making that movie.
War of the Wills on Amazon. Yeah. You can get it there.
Go ahead.
I
just also want to mention Bethany's new book.
Yeah, Sasquatch, baby.
Sasquatch, baby.
And that's it's a woman goes up to Delaware County and tries to drink away her pain, and then something happens.
Yeah. It's a great read. It's a great read,
okay.
Especially if you like anything that's it's sort of wine related too. It's an amazing book.
Find out about it at BethanyBrowning.com or go on Amazon and buy it there. And George, you've been a wonderful guest.
Hey, I really, really appreciate you bringing me on.
And I'm not even mad that you didn't use my hand for that toilet cleaning.
You always give the client what they want. They didn't like your chubby fingers. That is not my fault.
Look at these little.
That is not my fault. My client wants something. I'm going to make sure they get what they want.
If you need someone with like elven fingers, like they're digging in like muck.
You mean dwarf fingers?
Yeah, dwarf. Right, sorry, like Lord of the Rings mythology and all that stuff. They're long.
It's long.
Right,
dwarf. Those are mitts. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you need some of these mitts, I'm your guy. So George, thank you. For everybody else, if you've listened this far, please go watch War of the Wills on Amazon. If you have questions about Sonoma Valley, go to sonomavalley.com. Most importantly, if you haven't already, and I know you're waiting to do this, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends about this amazing podcast, and more people listen to it. And also send us your questions, info@sonomavalley.com. Thanks, everybody. Mom and Dad, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.